The fact that when Zimmerman called 911 and they told him not to pursue Trayvon, why did that not hold up? Why did that not have more weight in court?
That's kind of a jury question, really, because him pursuing him is not illegal per se, and so that would still, under Florida's law, that still affords him the right to his self-defense. So
I'll tell
him
you what the
pursuing is
juror
not.
said last night too.
What'd you say?
I'll tell Sharice what the juror said last night too.
Yeah, so it's if you're that definitely should weigh in the conversation somehow, but it's something that the jury would weigh, and if it's something that they didn't find very persuasive or didn't find it that important, then they wouldn't use that much in their deliberation.
And that's basically what the juror said last night. She said that two things. She said, first, the fact that the 911 operator that testified said we can't give commands, we can only offer suggestions because what he's doing is not illegal. So that's the first thing. And then second thing, the 911 operator said to keep an eye on him. And in her mind, that's all Zimmerman was doing, was keeping an eye on him per
Oh.
the 911 operator's instructions. Not following
And then,
him, keeping an eye on him.
right, and I.
Well, you can't keep an eye on someone if you don't follow them.
Right.
Well, before Shari asks her question, Nick, can you explain the stand your ground law or whatever it is?
I will. I'll do my best. I haven't really looked at it for a couple of months now since this first happened. So generally with self-defense, if you have it usually works off of a subjective standard, which means it's about what you believe personally and not just what a reasonable person would believe. So how normal self-defense works is that if you genuinely believe that you are in danger of imminent death or great bodily harm, you have the right to use deadly force in order to protect yourself. That's how normal self-defense works. Now, there's also, many states have a thing that's called imperfect self-defense. And that's basically if, let's say, I start picking a fight with you, and then I walk away a little bit, but we're picking a fight and we're still yapping back and forth. And then you come at me, and I feel that I'm about to die or I'm going to get hurt. I would, in Zimmerman's case, he'd shoot you and claim self-defense. Well, that would be what's called an imperfect self-defense because you started the altercation. You sparked the flame, so to speak. And so most states, imperfect self-defense ends up being manslaughter or second-degree murder or what have you. It's not a full justification. Now, with Florida's Stand Your Ground law, from what I remember looking a while back, basically if you are where you're at lawfully and you feel threatened, then you're able to use force that you think is necessary in order to protect yourself. Now, in a lot of states, other states, you have to try to retreat to a safe place, or there's also what's called the castle doctrine, is you retreat to your house, and then in your house you can basically shoot anybody because that's your place. But most states have, you're supposed to try to remove yourself from the situation. What did you say?
I was saying come through the threshold. No, I want to shoot you.
Oh, yeah.
That
That was a joke we talked about in law school. It was like you shoot somebody, make sure they're inside, not outside, because then you're all good.
right.
But so most states have to where you have to try to remove yourself from the dangerous situation, and then if you can't, you can use whatever force is necessary to defend yourself. With Florida, you don't have to. There's no requirement of retreating at all. And so, from what I remember, that's kind of the basis of the stand your ground.
Okay, good. Thank you.
That's very good. Any other comments, Cheryl?
I think that what I'm gonna do is kind of weed through and throw out questions that people have posted. Monique said, "Do you think federal charges will take place?"
For me, I don't know. And this is going to be a very lawyerly answer. They're investigating. If their investigation shows them that they should take action, I think they will. I don't. A lot of people try to politicize it or whatever. And granted, I completely do not like how this outcome how it happened. But I think if we start trying to change, change parts of the system that are in place to protect us, then ultimately we're going to do more harm than good. Because we have somebody now that the public thinks is guilty and wants to pay for what they did. But then you're also going to have somebody sometime that's innocent, and we need those protections in there for the people that are innocent as well.
Okay. Shari, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
I almost forgot what my question was.
Almost doesn't count.
True. My question is, why didn't Zimmerman take the stand? Like, why didn't they let him take the stand?
Oh, sorry.
Some people think it's because he's weak. My client, I wouldn't have him take the stand either. Like I said, I only saw the first week of trial and then some parts of the defense side. But after the first week, I didn't feel that the prosecution had met their burden. And so the defense doesn't even have to put on anyone, really. So having him on, I think it would have opened him up to a lot more dangerous questions and questions that could have hurt him more. And so not putting him up there.
I would have loved for him to be on there.
Yeah, this is exactly why the defense didn't put him on there. And he doesn't have to go on. He has a Fifth Amendment right not to do so. And then also, if you get back, like I said, burdens of proof, he didn't have a burden, so he doesn't have to put on anything, really.
Okay. I had another question, but I can't even remember it now.
You got to write them down.
I do. I have a horrible memory.
All right, go ahead, Melissa Fredericks.
Me? Okay, I have a question, and my question was, it was about manslaughter. Oh, I know. Okay, so when the jury came back, okay, so my understanding of the jury's question when they sent it to the judge was that they didn't understand what events they could include when charging manslaughter. So basically, they're saying, is it at the very moment that Zimmerman is getting his head banged up against which is an exaggeration, but whatever, I'm going to just say it. He's getting his head banged against the cement, and he is in fear of his life, and he shoots. That equals self-defense. Or can you include the events leading up to that and say, well, it's really, like you said, imperfect self-defense if you believe he was stalking him, he was following him. Really, Trayvon was in fear for his life. Melissa's take is, after he hung up the phone with the 911 operator, he confronted Trayvon. That's just what I believe. Trayvon was like, nah, ninja, get up out my face. You following me. Probably punched him, whatever. And then, but he starts it. So therefore, it's really not, I mean, Trayvon has a right to defend himself too. And so, I don't know. I'm kind of going everywhere, but can manslaughter, is it only at that moment, or could, if the judge had understood the jury's question and they answered and said, no, you can include everything, is that really, could they have then charged him with manslaughter? Because the jury was split. 3 wanted to acquit, 2 wanted manslaughter, and 1 wanted second-degree murder.
Well, those, unless the judge gives them a specific cutoff, the jury's able to weigh all the evidence that's presented at the trial. So it's up for them to really just, we say the scales of justice. They just have to weigh it out, and
but they didn't know. Like the lady said, she was like, we got like a thick packet of instruction. And they couldn't like filter through it. And I think juror B50, whatever, 37, 57, whatever her number was, B37. And isn't she the one where her husband's a lawyer or an attorney or whatever?
Yeah.
I think she's the one who did the convincing. Like, no, my husband's a lawyer, and it's at that moment, and therefore, and everybody was like, for real?
Yeah.
But
there's gotta be one.